All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. I am here with Celeste. Thank you to everybody who is joining us live. Thank you to everyone who is watching this recorded after the go live. We are grateful for you to be here. And we're confident that something that we say at some point during this conversation is going to be meant for you and impact you in some way. So, with that all said, and I know that with the eclipse going on today, there's a lot of different things going on. People are trying to orchestrate where they are. So, hopefully, I'm finding everybody who in a place where they can sit and relax for a bit and grab a cup of tea. And I want to let Celeste go ahead and introduce herself to everybody.
Thank you for having me here today, Deb. I'm so excited to be here. Hi, I'm Celeste Moore. I am a certified image consultant and dating coach. And I help. Let's see. I help you with the dating side. I help midlife men navigate this crazy world of dating, and I also help men and women who are entrepreneurs or CEOs or people that are looking to build their personal brand to match their business brand. And that's what I absolutely love. I love to see people shine when they get on stage, when they're on these big media outlets and magazines or TV. So yeah, I'm super excited. I love my career. And I guess that's why I chose it after not choosing to go to law school. So very different brains, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but in some regards, it's all about how you see people and see situations, right? So there's probably like an overlap with that with law because it has to do with perceptions and reality and how you bring your best self to situations.
Very
I
true.
think this is fascinating because and it's funny because I would change the language now that I would use to describe myself, but I would say throughout a lot of my life, I always kind of thought of myself as not having a sense of style. And I would even make jokes about, oh, I'm hair illiterate because I didn't really know what to do with my hair. Which, now the adult me kind of looks at it and thinks, because I would say even recently I've said comments like that, is that like I'm defining myself by something that isn't really accurate. And what I think is really cool about what you do and about helping people to understand and build their brand is it's not just about like what's in style right now. Let's find the things in style and let's put the things that are in style on you, whether it's makeup colors or hairstyle or clothing. It's about helping people understand what they like. And so when I look back at some of the things that I wore that I would have thought maybe were out of style, but they were my style and they were my, what I wanted to wear. And I think you help people not just identify what items and colors, et cetera, they should use, but what resonates with them, because that's the most important part, right, of that branding piece. What you bring to an interview or a date is going to be about the confidence that you bring. And maybe you could talk a little bit about how you help people to kind of find that sense of their own personal brand when it comes to image in that way.
Yeah, I mean, you said such a key point there. It's really bringing your authentic, like best self forward. What does that look like? Like you said, you didn't know what style or what was like, who am I based on my style, based on my colors, based on my hair. So it's really fascinating that part of what I do is art and science. So some of the color, I do what's called a 4x4 color analysis. It's the only certification program globally, and it's very in depth. It's not just the seasons, like kind of the old school way. So it's based on your hair color, your eye color, or your skin color, and whether or not you pull warm or cools, how deep colors you can wear, how bright they are versus more like muted tones. It's very detailed, but that is really the first and foremost thing that I have to start with my clients. And the reason why is because we could go through your style and find the clothes that best fit you, but if you're not wearing the right color, then it's going to be completely wrong. And each color too, I really like to teach color psychology because let's just say you're jumping on stage and your audience, let's just say you're in healthcare and you get on stage, and most likely your audience are people that are interested in learning more about the healthcare system. Um, Navy blue actually is the most trusting color. And so a lot of times, just like you see politicians wear navy, and big banks have navy in them. So there's a reason that people use certain colors and they're really powerful. And a lot of people wear black or white, and they like to kind of disappear. They like to be like wallflowers, because when you actually wear color, you're going to be seen. It's the first thing that we see within less than 3 seconds. So it immediately, before you can open up your mouth, you're sending a message to your audience, and wherever that is, whether it's on stage or, like you said, it's on a date, or I mean, at the grocery store, right? I mean,
Right,
just
right. Anywhere you're present.
anywhere you're present. And it's really, your personal brand is really how you're showing up. And so that, as an image consultant, we do a lot more than, let's say, a personal stylist. There's a personal stylist focus on trends, like you had talked about, shopping, personal shopping. And a lot of times they're within department stores, or, there's celebrity stylists, but they have an idea of a, I want to say almost like a character.
Mhm.
And they create that, and it's beautiful, the makeup, the hair, the whole thing. But in essence, that might not be the best look for you. And so, yeah, so going through, we've got the color down, I give you this amazing color wheel with like 80 colors that you can take with you when you go shop. So, like, shop for makeup, hair color. I mean, and it tells you too on the back of the swatch, like what that should be used for, and whether or not it should be used as a neutral, very little, it's so on and so forth. So it's so cool.
That is cool.
This program is just like amazing. And then we find, based on your personality, based on your lifestyle, where you live, what your style house is. And this is really fun, because there's like 8 style houses, and we usually live in 2, sometimes 3, but we have a primary, like our dominant, and then we have a secondary. And a lot of times they can work together. And you can kind of wear both houses. And like the third house is usually one that's not for stage. It's usually maybe a more fun or flirty type of style. And it's called a Kiersey test. It's based on 70 questions. And I go through every question, and I tally up at the end. And based on those marks, this is where you live. And it's really cool, because it's a little liberating to know, oh, that's why I like this, or this is why I
Yeah.
always go for this. And style is timeless. It's where trends are, by the time you put an item on that's trendy, it's out of fashion. By the time it hits the magazine and you're like, "Ooh, I like that," then yeah, they're off to like the next season. And so it's always fun though to buy, like, if you buy an inexpensive item as a trend, just maybe for the summer, maybe you really like something and it fits you well, then that's okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to fast fashion. I just don't like a lot of it. I prefer to really educate my clients on quality over quantity, and buy those pieces that will last you years and years and years. And you can always update it with different colors. It's not,
Right.
you'll never be stuck in like, oh my God, she looks like this is 20 years ago. You're not going to look like you're in the 90s unless you purposely want to. So it'll be really
So,
tailored to you. Yeah.
yeah, well, so there's so many questions I have there. I'm gonna try to focus in on one specific area that I thought was interesting. So when you talk like about timeless, and I think that that's
Mhm.
important, because there are things that, like, I know even there are things that are in my closet that I've been able to wear, literally for 30 years, right? And nobody would ever know what time period it particularly came from. But a lot of that stuff is, I would say, definitely more into the casual category. It's not really in the professional sense. I would say that's a really important skill, because what you wear in your, and I would say any of those, I want to say high pressure, but maybe it's high pressure is not the right word, but areas where you really want to put your best self forward. And
Mhm.
I think dating and interviews and being on stage, all those fall into that category. Finding those pieces that are going to be timeless in those areas. What are some of the things that, like, from a category, granted, I know everybody's going to have their different colors and their different maybe versions of, but what are some of the items that you say you can kind of carry across time periods?
I would say suiting, sports jackets. I mean, even for women, right? We can, not everybody likes to wear skirts, but you can wear certain skirts. And mind you, this is based on, like, I do so many measurements on your body, and
Right.
I accentuate the things that are great on your body. I balance the things that need to be balanced, and then we camouflage things that Yeah, need to be camouflage. We all
Right.
have some of those.
Right.
Um, and so, suiting, pants, you think about investment pieces, even outerwear, some like say a pea coat, I don't know, a trench coat, um, even some good button down shirts. Cause like just if you went to the I don't know, some department store, you could spend on a nice
Right.
quality shirt like $250. Well, I know a designer who can make that to fit your body for the same price. And why wouldn't you want that? And so it's like there's this invest in pieces that I like to make capsule wardrobes, especially for work. Let's just focus on like just say career. Like, okay, I have this for speaking on stage. I have a couple different outfits I can change up here. I might wear this jacket or another jacket, but I have shirts that I can move around and skirts and pants, and we create 10 to 12 outfits based on maybe 4 pieces. And then I would say probably good quality accessories like belts, shoes, even think about the ones that you're going to wear over and over and over. Like if you're into really trendy shoes, that's okay. Just know that you're either going to spend a lot of money on shoes or but at
Right.
least you have a couple pairs that these are like, maybe neutral colors or maybe just the colors that work well with everything. Yeah, so I really focus on those pieces like t-shirts, jeans, things like that. You can get less expensive as long as they look, as long as they're like good quality.
Right.
You can
Right.
change those out with, you know, style, with different fashion that's in trends or whatever.
Well, and it's fascinating too to me, and it does take, and for people who are thinking like, well, why can't I just kind of read an article and get a color assessment and then I'll go shopping and base it on that? And I mean, I'm the first person to admit there's a friend of mine that I go shopping with, and she will pull stuff off of racks, either for herself or even for me, that when I look at it on the hanger, I'm thinking like, there's no way that's gonna look good, right? And then you put it on and you're like, that looks really good. And it could be the pattern or the color that for whatever particular reason I think wouldn't have the effect that I think we're going for if it's for whatever particular occasion. So there's something to be said for people being able to do that for you and needing that guidance, because even if somebody necessarily tells you the right colors, you still want to know the colors and, like you said, what those colors should be used for. Just
Mhm.
because a particular color works with you doesn't mean it's going to work for every specific item of clothing that you might wear. So I think that that's brilliant. And we all know, because I think everybody can relate to having put on an outfit that they really liked and felt good in, and the confidence that that brings with it when you put that outfit on. Not that you're, every step you take, you're thinking, I look incredible, but there's a certain confidence that that brings. And that's really important, because when we feel confident, we're more likely to say and act in ways that we're going to feel really good about. So I imagine that you see that a lot too with people that you work with, right? You get them all teed up, you get them, these are your colors, these are your items, here's some recommended outfits, and they put them on, and they're, in many cases, I imagine, seeing themselves in a way they've never seen themselves before.
Oh yeah, it's so huge. I had this client that for years, I literally we would go shopping. It's when I lived in New York, and we'd always go to, I don't know, Bloomies or somewhere, just like a nice department store. He had different things he could try on, and he would never look at himself in the mirror. And I was
Mm,
like, look at yourself. Like, what do you think of this? Because like you said, when you have an item on like you're looking for items and you're like, I don't know if that's going to look good or if that's going to be a total like bomb, right?
right.
And I would get in there. I was like, well, what do you think? Whatever you think. He would just be like, I trust you. And I said, well, okay, I wasn't pushing it. I wasn't pushing it, but like a year in, I remember he had looked at himself in the mirror, and it was like so huge because, mind you, he's very, very successful in his career. But when it came to looking at himself as maybe I look good or I feel good, it was just, very focused on, okay, that wasn't that important to me. But after a while, he did realize how important it was to feel good and to feel good about himself. Like his shoulders, were a little bit more back and he stood up a little more straight. He had a little bit more strut in his walk. And it was just so life changing for me that I was able to have him see himself in that way. And yeah, when clients light up and they're like, "Oh my gosh," and like teaching them the tools, right? Because I don't just want to go shopping for you. I'm not just a stylist where I'm just going to pull things for you. I want to educate you. I want to show you why this works for your body, why this color works. Do you see what happens when you wear this? And then it's like, boom, like this light bulb just
Right.
goes off and this big smile and they get excited. So yeah, it's what I love.
Well, and it's accentuating characteristics about somebody that are attractive from their perception, right? We all have these different characteristics about ourselves that we either feel self-conscious about, like you noted, we want to disguise, or ones that we want to accent, and we have ways that we look at other people and we think that other people are better than, whether it's successful or from an attractive kind of perspective. And so helping people to recognize that we all have these beautiful, attractive qualities, and that it's helping you to feel confident in those and to really show those, as opposed to thinking like, well, I really shouldn't invest in myself because I'm not whatever that I'm not is, right? Everybody can fill in the blank with that, but I'm not worth that. I don't really need that. And I think that's why you find, they talk about when people become more confident, they start to wear more of the brighter colors, or they start to wear the sparkles, because you're recognizing yourself as being okay to stand out. Like it's okay to be seen. So that's a really powerful thing. And that doesn't just carry over into how you're going to be perceived physically, but that carries over into how you feel about yourself. And that's going to impact the relationships you build and the choices that you make.
Oh
So,
yeah.
you mentioned before, like not going into law and how that could have been a potential. What did this start when you were a kid? You noticed you had a knack for it? I mean, I know you have certifications that certainly help to make it more robust as an offering, but the
Right.
gift itself that you have and the passion you have for it, where did that come from?
Well, I can remember my youngest year was when I was 12. And I remember we lived in a very affluent place, but we weren't affluent we were very like, I don't know, my parents were struggling. They were both nurses and just trying to make ends meet. There was 5 of us. And so anything that I wanted outside of, typical school time clothes, or I don't even know if we got clothes at the holidays. But anyways, so it was limited to what I had in my closet. So I remember being 12 at this very expensive mall in Boca Raton, Florida, and walking in and seeing a pair of jeans or pants. I can't remember at the moment. And I just gravitated toward them. And I went and I was like, oh, mom, I like these. And she goes, well, how much are they? And I was like, $70. Well, in
Yeah.
1988, I think I was 12. She says, yeah, no way. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to babysit and I'm going to start buying those items. And I kid you not, to this day, I can walk into any store and I can pick up an item and it's literally the most expensive item. And it's not even because it's the price, I look at quality and I can see quality from a mile away. I don't know. It started then. And then of course, as I was a little bit older and had a little bit more funds to go shopping and go with friends, and it was just kind of like I thought it was just a fun thing to do. Not every girl has that sense, and not everyone wants to go shopping. And then my mom said to me when I graduated college, and then she says, well, why don't you start focusing on some of your passions? And I was like, she goes, you love to do this. Why don't you do this for a living? I was like, people get paid for that? Like, so I started looking into, organizations that were accredited and global. And so I got certified and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it for me. And I was able to like really just play. And I did art when I was a kid, but I was never great enough to, be some great artist or anything. So I get to use my art, my really big creative side that I have. And there's also a lot of science behind what I do. So I love both of those. Yeah. So it was a progression. And then,
Yeah.
the certifications just kind of, implanted it, firmed it, put it in concrete, whatever you want to say. But yeah. So
Well, it's interesting, and I think motivation for people too. When you talk about like that at 12 years old, you had that gift, right? You didn't even necessarily associate it as being a gift. At 12, you thought of it as wanting a pair of pants you couldn't get, but it was an ability to say like that's something that's a lot of money because it's really good, right? Before you knew how much money it was, you were recognizing, to your point, the quality, and a lot of I didn't necessarily recognize this until later in life, right? I would be like, why are those jeans so much more expensive? And then you realize that like you go through 4 pairs of jeans in the same time that that one pair of jeans lasted, and you're like, oh, okay, there's something to that. That's not across the board, but there's certainly definitely price points bring with them the quality, and that you didn't know that that was something that you could make a living out of. And how many other people have gifts or talents that they undervalue because they don't think they're going to be part of something bigger. They just think it's like, oh, but that's just something I like. It's not something I could do. And you do it, and it's life-changing for people, right?
Yeah.
Whatever's bringing somebody to you with that, whether it's because there's a specific goal they have and they feel like understanding their image and putting their best image forward is going to help them achieve that, or they're just feeling like, I don't even know myself. Help me know who I am. And when you
Right.
start to pick colors, you do start to understand that. It's the same thing when you're kind of decorating your house and you start to kind of go like, oh, I like things that have that particular style to them. And again, not a gift that I've ever been particularly good at. I can tell you, if you brought me to a store, like I could show you some things I like, but I have never been particularly good at, if you give me a wall and like gave me a whole store and were like, make this look like something special. I wouldn't do what I see some people do. And I think that's very similar in the sense that you could walk into a store filled with clothing, and for almost anybody, you could pick out the items that are going to make that person feel that they look their best, right? Feel confident in themselves.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's really, really empowering. Now you've connected with some people that are like celebrity stylists and stuff. You mentioned before, for example, somebody who could make a shirt. I'm intrigued. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it is,
Yeah.
I understand it's about your specific measurements as opposed to, small, medium, large shirt off the rack.
Yes, well, I was always, to a disadvantage. I have large breasts and a small waist and not big butt either, it's like my curves are very, like, specific, and I think a lot of women and men, actually, we all have different body types, there's just not we're a triangle, we're an apple, we're a pear. That doesn't exist. That doesn't everybody has different shapes and sizes, and I think if you're investing in a piece that you're gonna spend, I don't know, let's just say a jacket's $800 at a good quality jacket, a sports coat at, a department store, and then you're like, "Oh, wait, but I can get a jacket made with, like, pick any type of fabric." And that's the other thing. I tell you what fabrics are based or that are best for you, not just in the place that you live, right? Your lifestyle, but also based on your style house and based on your colors. Like, there are certain fabrics that do better for your personality too. So it's so cool. But anyways, you can pick out, there's thousands of fabrics. You can pick out your own buttons. You can personalize them. You can do the inside. I have Boss Lady on mine. I have my initials somewhere on the other side. This is one particular jacket. And, I love this jacket. I can put it over a t-shirt and jeans, or I can put it with a suit pant, whatever I can. And
Right.
so I met this woman when I lived in New York. She is still in New York. And I don't know. I went to some networking event. I don't know how I got invited to her show, to like this private showing. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Literally can make anything, any dress, any shirt, any shorts. It doesn't have to be suiting, but that's what she's known for. Because in the bespoke suiting arena, it's mostly men. And so her clients are majority women or non-gender. She works with men as well, but she's been designing for celebrities. She has fashion shows every year, and I've had many pieces done with her, and these will last me forever. I can gain 10 pounds and I can lose 10 pounds, and they can be tailored. They can be adjusted within that. She says 20, but that's pushing it. I don't think that's really maybe 15. But it's your color, it's your style, it's putting something on. I never understood this before. I talked to men who had bespoke suiting. They're like, there's nothing like a suit that fits my body. It's like putting on pajamas almost. And it's mine. There's nothing like having a custom piece of clothing done for you. It can fit over any curve, and it can be flattering. You can have any shape. It's just, I don't know. I get so excited because this is just something that I absolutely love to do. And I actually took a couple clients to her, and I remember taking my mom, and my mom is a doctor, but she's moving up to like, doing a TED talk. She just wrote a book. So she's stepping out of the education nursing program to more of the business entrepreneur side. And she had a couple suits made, and she's like, these are the best things ever. I've bought pieces in Nordstrom's or wherever she shops. And like you said, things last for a season or two, maybe three, but that's pushing it. It usually has some type of trend to it. But these are just something that lasts forever. And I don't know, it's the best thing ever. I don't know. I just get so excited. So yeah. So I like,
Yeah,
and
I think it's super cool.
I also, on one quick note, is when you talked about, say you just went through 3 pairs of jeans because they were less expensive versus buying that one pair that lasted the same amount of time. I do cost per wear with my clients. I really want them to understand that, okay, this might be a $1,500 suit or whatever, but that will how many times are you going to wear that, and how long are you going to have it? And so when you break that down, cost per wear, I'm not buying 15 suits or 10 suits or whatever that looks like, because that was a cool suit for the season. Yeah. So that's really
Absolutely.
important as well.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for a sport jacket, whether male or female, right? You do put it on, and it's I don't know what it is. You might even be able to explain it better, but I can just say from my own perspective, it's like you put it on, and there's, whether you're putting it on with jeans or you're putting it on with dress pants or whatever, however you're wearing it, that makes you feel empowered, right? It's like the cloak of like, I'm like going into that zone. So having it then custom made and having the knowing like, this is mine, like this is my
Mhm.
coat. And I'm intrigued by that color. Now, granted, I'm sure on the computer it might be a little different than what it looks like in
Oh,
person,
right.
but like what it, because I'm like, you're talking all about colors and stuff, and I'm thinking like, and there's a color that like is like mauve, it's like red, it's like purple, but I'm like, I'm sure it's got its own name.
Well,
What
it,
would you
it
call that?
truly it's an eggplant, and it's hard to see with my
Okay.
navy wall and the lighting probably. So it's one of my purples that work well for me. And, I never understood, like, I only have this one jacket in this color, and I really want another, like a full suit in a different fabric and a little slighter different color. But purple is royalty. It represents like a very luxury feel to it. And you can also put on a color that, just say you need a little bit more confidence for the day, you can actually change the way that you're feeling based on putting on an item. It's crazy. I know that sounds like, oh, I don't know. I don't really know if you could really change my mood. Okay. Well, there is something to be said about adding some red, which is the most powerful color. It gives you that confidence. It gives you that extra, like, okay, I'm going to kind of fake it till I actually feel like that. Let me wear something for an hour. It really truly works. And yeah, so it's just finding those colors that are for you that you can wear to send a message to yourself, to your audience, and live in that space, because that's truly what I do for a living, is really, I don't want to say marketing yourself, but in a sense you are, but it's really showing up and how you show up.
So, and when you do that with people, because like, let's say you said to me, "Hey, this is one of your best colors from a different perspective, from all of these different categories that you kind of look at." What if the person says like, I don't like that color though? So does that, do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
there's probably, that's got to happen sometimes, right?
So there's all colors that we're not going to like. And
Yeah.
everybody has a yellow and a green and a blue and a red and a purple. We all have the colors of the rainbow plus more in our color wheel, if you will. And you don't have to wear that yellow. If you don't like to wear yellow, okay. There's
Right.
other colors that are going to send a message that you're bright and happy. Like, that's not the only color you have to wear. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's really cool. Cause, and it's shades, right? To your point. And that was going to be one of my other questions. Everybody's kind of got one of those groups of colors. It's the varying shades, which, I can't even imagine how many shades you must go through. What is your total color wheel that you're assessing everybody on? Cause everybody gets 70, right? What is the entire scope of colors?
Um, let's see. So that's a good question. I don't know all the scope. I have
Oh,
one
you don't
right
have to. Yeah,
here,
yeah,
but I have one, but so it's mixing colors too, obviously, right? So you've got your primary, you've got your secondary, and then they start adding in whites and grays and blacks, and it goes on and on forever. I don't know how many colors they
right,
can actually make, but and everybody and there's 16 different categories that you would fall into, and based on the color analysis, and then within that I give you which has over so many colors for you to go and
it's
play
so cool.
with in any shape, start picking stuff out of your closet. Okay, this is definitely not my color, or, shopping forward, or like buying makeup, like you said, or maybe hair color that works
Yeah,
best for your eyes and your skin. And what that does too, not just sends messages, but it also makes us younger when we wear the right colors. Literally takes lines away from our face. It does not, we look brighter and more vibrant. And when we wear the wrong colors, it instantly, I mean, I can see, but you instantly, like, maybe your bags come out of, like, they're more
right.
pronounced. Maybe you look sick, even. You can look a little jaundiced. So it's really important to, at least from the waist up, wear the right colors for you.
Wow. Oh, so cool. All right. So let me see. There's two last questions I want to do because we're right at 30 minutes here, but
Yes,
there's a
yes,
couple
yes.
other things I wanted to. So one, maybe share. I mean, you've shared some success stories here, but do you have like a particular success story that really resonates with you, or maybe multiple? I'm sure you've got a lot, and everybody you've ever helped has benefited. But like something that really sticks with you. I know you mentioned the one gentleman who looked at himself in the mirror, and that's a powerful story. Anything else like that you would want to share?
Well, recently I had a client that she had some headshots that she was um, sending out to, I think it was the media. And then she also was rebranding or doing a website. And I was like, she asked my opinion. And I was like, well, this hair color, it makes you look tired and sick. It makes your skin like you have no pigment. So we got her the right hair color, the right style. And then we got her out of black and white. She was wearing a black and white. It's I think people automatically put like a black jacket on and a white shirt, and okay, this works for everybody, but it really doesn't. So, long story short, we ended up getting her in the right colors and the right style for her body. And let me tell you, night and day, what a difference. She not only had such confidence, but she was like excited about things. She was showing everybody. And then she got, asked to be in certain media just based on her new headshots. So it was really powerful for her. And I just loved, like you said, it's so empowering to give these tools to someone that you have for life, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be able to reapply it. So,
Yes.
how do people get in touch with you? They're like, okay, this is cool. I now want to either get my own, custom made stuff, but at the very least, know my colors, my
Yeah.
styles. What are the best ways for people to connect with you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, Celeste Moore, Instagram, Celeste Moore Image, Facebook, Celeste Moore Image, and oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank. And my website, celestemore.com. You can just book a free call. We can see if we're a good fit. I do virtual color and style analysis as well as in person. So that's an option for people.
Yay. I
Yeah.
did notice I got a notification, just so you know, as we were streaming, that Facebook was having an issue. I think it was on their end and not on StreamYard's end, and it was not going through. So it looks like we didn't go
Okay.
live on Facebook. So I'll
Oh, no worries.
download and re-upload to Facebook so that it goes up there, just in case you look afterwards, or and we'll have to share with our audiences why we were not there. But yes, I encourage people to feel worthy of investing in kind of understanding what their branding is from a very visual perspective, because you're going to be looking at that person in the mirror, and it's really cool to be able to see the best version of yourself aesthetically, and know that you're bringing that forward. Parting thoughts for the world before we sign off for the day. Well, maybe not the whole world, the audience at least.
I think my imparting words would just be know that you're worthy of this. If you're spending money into your business, like you are your business, show up as the best version of yourself and show up as you want to be seen. And that's really like powerful when you can own that and know that everybody deserves to be seen.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
We
much.
had, yeah, absolutely. And I forgot to kind of let everybody know that the reason we had a couple little technical things getting on, but I'm really glad that we were able to sync up. And I hope that everybody has enjoyed this. If you would like to connect with Celeste and you would prefer an introduction, please feel free to reach out to me and I will definitely tee that up for you and make sure that you get connected. And thank you again to everybody for joining us. And thank you again to Celeste. And we hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thanks.